Fly here recapping predicting the World Junior Championship, U18 Women's World, the Men's World Championship, Women's World Championship, U18 Men's World Championship. What is happening?
It is by far one of the dumbest things I have ever seen.
Prepare to die. Figured it was better safe than sorry.
Scores! Nathan McKinnon scores for Canada.
Your home for international hockey. This is On the Fly.
And hello everybody, and welcome back to On the Fly, your home for international hockey. We are back for some more live streams today. Second set of games for today, where we'll see Slovakia taking on Canada in a big game over in Group B. With the win, the Slovaks will start to try and leapfrog the standings, as we'll see whether or not Sweden will end up being knocked out of this tournament rather quickly. For Canada, their hopes of taking home the top spot over in Group B rely pretty heavily upon this game. With a loss, they will put themselves in jeopardy of doing so going into a big game against Team Czechia. Should definitely be a game to keep an eye on as we continue throughout this tournament. But for the Canadians today, we'll see what kind of effort they put forth. If you remember back, a tournament ago, I'm not sure exactly what day it was, you can remember back to the men's under-18 World Championships where Team Slovakia pulled off the upset against Team Canada. And yeah, the tournament didn't exactly go so hot from there for the Canadian squad. But today, looking for some retribution and trying to avoid what happened to the USA and Latvia, where Latvia has beaten the US at both the men's under-18s and at the World Championships. We will see whether or not that will be the case today for Team Canada. Over in the other game, a bit of a kind of game flying under the radar a little bit, you have Finland taking on Austria. Finland, pretty heavy favorites rolling into this game. However, part of the beauty of these tournaments, and as we like to say quite a bit here on this channel, truly anything can happen in these games. And so it will be exciting to see kind of how this tournament continues to transpire. If you are new here, please do smash the like button, hit subscribe if you have not already. We are on the road to 3,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So please, 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 if you have not already, do smash the subscribe button as well. Hit the like button while you are at it, and as well vote on our poll. The all-important poll of today, so far 29 votes registered. Slovakia trailing now 40% to 60% to Canada. So if you are new here, please do smash that. Once again, we are on the road here to 3,000 subscribers now on YouTube. Still used to the old one. We were chasing 2,000 for quite a while, and actually since the start of basically our last World Championship campaign, where we hit that 2,000 subscriber mark back then. Now we are on the road to 3,000 here on YouTube. So please, if you have not already, do smash that subscribe button. We are just moments away from what's going on there? Is they're ringing the bell? Interesting. We're about just moments away here from seeing Finland and Austria take the ice as well. Canada and Slovakia just about to do it as well. Some games from earlier today as well happened, and we saw probably one of the biggest, I don't know, the biggest blowouts. We saw 9-0 the other day, but one of the bigger blowouts from this tournament with Latvia, of all teams, taking down Great Britain by a score of 6-0. An absolute domination game from Latvia. Good to see them be able to find the score sheet. We've seen them struggle in years past with that, but still at this tournament, they've shown once again that they are a team to keep an eye on, because with their win today, and assuming Finland goes through Austria, they will look to try and take that third spot in the group. If they can take that third spot, they put themselves in a very good situation as they try and hunt down a potential semifinal bid. Reminder that if you come the third spot in the group, you get the second seed. Right now, the second seed for Group B will likely end up being the Czechs. It could also be Slovakia. It could also be Canada. We will see what happens in today's game to see who ends up kind of in those final conversations. Should be interesting to keep an eye on there. But the other game, and one of the more recent games, obviously this one went to a shootout, was between Denmark and Italy. Denmark goes up 2 goals early. Italy basically battles all their way back, ends up tying the game, forcing overtime, nothing to show in overtime, and then a shootout rolls around. And in the shootout, it was a Danish masterclass and the Danes end up pulling through with the victory. Once again, it didn't matter a whole ton unless Italy were to win in regulation time, would be the only kind of caveat there to see for the Italians that they really wanted to play for it. With the win in the overtime shootout, it would allow them to beat Slovenia in overtime or a shootout as well. That way they would have moved up, but with their loss today, it doesn't really hurt them all that much. They'll still need a big win now in regulation time if they are going to avoid relegation at this tournament. That's a lot of regulation and relegation all in the same sentence, but we are just about underway here for first period action between Canada and Slovakia, Finland and Austria. If you are new here, please do smash the like button and hit subscribe for what should be a great day of action today. We had a pretty good turnout on our day recap video last night, which was good to see. Thank you everyone for tuning in to those day recap videos. But it should be a good one. Did you watch let's see here. So check in on our chat section today. Hello, did you watch the Latvia-Great Britain game? What did you think of it? I thought it was a domination game, to be honest. It was quite the performance from the Latvian team, and one that I'd say as well was a long time coming. The Latvians, with their win over Team USA and with their win over Germany, should end up making it on to that playoff round. However, still one more game for them to come. They'll play against Hungary. If they beat Hungary, they will move on to the playoff rounds. If they lose against Hungary, then there is still the potential for them to miss out on this playoff. So we'll see kind of how that all shakes out. But destiny is in their control, and we'll see whether or not they can hold on here going into their final games today. Finland beats Austria probably 6-1. Could see that. I think in our predictions, we check over those. And our predictions we had for the 24th is run to actually the second sheet of paper now. We had Finland beating Austria 5-2. In our Latvia-Great Britain, we had 4-1. And in Canada-Slovakia, we had 4-2. And so we will see whether those will come true today. But still, definitely an interesting one. Puck is dropped, and we are underway for Slovakia and Canada, Finland, and Austria. As the puck is rimmed around the board, Slovaks get that opening face-off win. Swings it around. Canada now works back up ice. Crosby with it. Fires it low side down to Celebrini. Celebrini with the puck. Slides it down low to Cousins. Cousins in pursuit down low, but the Slovaks will fire it around the boards and start to look up ice with it. Fires down to the corner. Wotherspoon with it for Canada. Collects it behind his own net. Wotherspoon will drift out with it now. Looking up ice, try and make a pass. Wotherspoon over the red line will dump it down deep, but the puck will come out and hit that side dasher. Over in Austria, Finland, the Austrians with an early push here. Shot on net. Unable to make the stop though. And Finland comes back up the other way. Voted Slovakia just to mess with you. Oh no, that's not very nice. To be honest, I think this game's actually a lot more coin toss than people might give it credit for. These are two very good teams who could very well pull. Especially, we saw what happened with Norway for Canada. The Slovaks should absolutely beat Canada in this game. It wouldn't surprise me. Norway could also be second in Group B. That is also true. I don't see that happening, but honestly, the way this tournament has gone so far, like the way the upsets have worked at this tournament are kind of crazy too, where you have Slovenia, who's probably the biggest upset team so far, and they're still facing relegation if they lose in their final game, despite having two upset performances. Just absurd. Norway, who's been an absolute thorn in team sides all tournament, now all of a sudden has the potential to move up and really kind of make an impact at this tournament. Just a lot of very strange things there. Kicker to net for Austria rather than Tolvanen is certainly a choice. I think more so it's just to try and preserve Tolvanen for when they play against the U.S. in their big game. Because reminder, if they lose against the U.S., then they'll be knocked out of this tournament. They won't make the playoff rounds. And so as much as you'd like to win this game too, you have to kind of make your judgments on who you think you have a better chance against. And I would say for Austria, they definitely think that would be against Team USA rather than Finland. As the Finns will go to the early power play here. Slides it down low. Barkov with it. Slides it down. Granlund. It's amazing how many reinforcements this Finnish team has had since the last time we did a live stream for them. Puck will be played down low for the Slovaks, rather. Slovaks with the puck. Pass it down. A nice pass there. Shot. Misses wide of the net on Greaves. Slovaks with some good offensive zone pressure here. Martone loses the puck. Wotherspoon gets knocked off the puck. More pressure from the Slovak team. Kamak shot. Turned away by Greaves. And they'll flip it back up ice. Martone works back in with now. Gets hounded by 4 Slovak players. Kamak with it. Passes it forward. Shot. Turned away by Greaves. Slovaks the better team thus far in this one. Canada now shifts back up ice. Cousins with it. Cousins over the line, over to Crosby. That'll be ruled offside. Greaves with a few good stops here early in this game for the Canadian team. It's good to see them get on, them get that so far, especially after the way this tournament has gone. Don't want to turn it back into a Norway type of game. Greaves, the clear starter for Canada coming into this tournament. Shot on net over in Finland. Austria nearly goes in. Celebrini with it. Will dump it down deep. Loses an edge. And here comes the Canadians. Crosby out to Celebrini. Celebrini shot. Good kick save there. Cousins with it. Just passes it back. Stretch pass down to Celebrini. Celebrini throws on the brakes. Celebrini with it now. Oh, and a nice move there by Celebrini. Oh, no, but the puck comes out. Wotherspoon back to get it. Maybe that's Whitecloud back to get it for the Canadians. Nurse. Stretch pass up to Crosby there. Stays in at the line. That'll be ruled offside. Oh, will not be ruled offside. They're just calling delayed offside for some reason. Finland's power play is now done. Nothing to show for it over there. Some good chances, though. Slovaks work it down low. Nurse, stretch pass up now. Velarde over to Scheifele. Scheifele walks in with the puck. Scheifele throws on the brakes, tries to slide it back to the point. He will. Nurse dumps it down deep. But the Slovaks now with the opportunity, but Nurse able to get back there to break up the 2-on-1 opportunity. Scheifele tries to make a play along the boards. Puck gets knocked off. Slovaks work back in. Oh, and a move to the front of the net, going for gold. Unable to find it through. Greaves with a nice save there to prevent Sikora from getting into the dirty areas. Sikora with a nice move there, cutting onto his backhand side, trying to jam it through. Over in Finland and Austria, Finland with some offensive zone time here. A lot of pressure. Pass it forward. So the slot area. Sikora with another opportunity there, unable to find its way through. So Matejchuk will work it up for the Canadians. Neutral zone clog over to O'Reilly. O'Reilly with it now. Tavares over to Bouchard. Bouchard back to Tavares. Bouncing puck. Where is it? Kicks it over. Ryan O'Reilly shot on net. Turned away there by the Slovak goalkeeper. Bouchard with it again. Drills a tire. Over to Holloway. Holloway gets tied up down in the corner. Shot. Turned away. Misses wide of the net on Lavai there. Tavares with it. Cycles it back. Hands it over. And the Slovaks now will look back up ice. 14 minutes left to go in this period between Canada and Slovakia. Matejchuk, stretch pass down to Minton. Works it over. Finney. Minton loses the puck, but kept in at the line. Oh, DeMello with the prime opportunity there to get something out of it, but can't. Minton picks back up the puck. Some pressure here for the Canadians. Connor Brown throws it to the front of the net. No one there for the Canadian team. Riley tries to find Finney. Puck will be wedged out, and it'll come back out to neutral ice. Riley with it now. Feeds it up to Minton. Minton down low. Connor Brown with it. Connor Brown holds. Connor Brown waits. To the top. Shot. Looking through traffic. Jam play out front. And unable to put it through. Oh, and Hlavaj gets a defender thrown straight on top of him. And melees begin to break out here in Slovakia and Canada as the ice crew is trying to do their job. Not sure why they'd send them already. Didn't it already start? Norway could also be second in the group. Kicker and could see a Latvia-US type game as we're on a power break here in Canada and Slovakia. See Latvia-US type situation if Canada's more enthusiastic. I wouldn't even say that it's that comparable. Like the Slovaks are, I don't want to say they're a clear-cut better team than Latvia is, but they're a much better team than Latvia is. And so, like, I wouldn't say it's as big of an upset. And obviously we know the strength of what Latvia can do, and Latvia does it every tournament now. We're just kind of waiting for that one big upset every time they play. But I wouldn't say that it's really kind of a comparable upset between what the US and Latvia did versus the way Slovaks and Canada are going to play. But I will say that the Slovaks very well are in this game as far as kind of that upset factor would go. It wouldn't surprise me. They have good goaltending, they have good defensive play, and they have the offense that can put the puck in when they get their opportunities. So there's a lot that works for the Slovak team. I wouldn't say I'm terribly surprised if they end up taking this game. "13 minutes left to go here in Canada and Slovakia as the Canadians win back the face-off draw. Wedges out. Cousins shot. Looking for Celebrini in front on the rebound. Unable to find it through. Back to the point shot. Rebounds loose. Unable to find it. Wedged out to center. Matejchuk with it now. We'll try and slide it around the boards, but the Slovaks first on it. We'll wedge it back out, though. Canada with more offensive zone possession. Celebrini gets knocked off the puck, and the Slovaks now with some numbers coming back the other way. Throws it out to the front. Cousins with a nice defensive play there to come back and break up that pass cross ice. The Slovaks, moves it over. Cousins gets hooked on the play. No call coming. Where's it out? Oh, Couillard there with the prime opportunity. Kmek with it. Kmek drops it off to Couillard. Shot from long distance, looking for a tip in front. Gets blocked though. Moves it over. Shot. Lichka there. Greaves able to make the stop. 12:01 left to go now in this period. Over in Finland and Austria, game still tied at zeros. 12:37 left to go in this first period. As they're showing that top line, which is absolutely disgusting for the Finns. Barkov, Granlund, and Helenius on that line. Disgusting. Absolutely wild. Shot. Turned away. Shot again. Good save there by Greaves. Slovaks have had their chances early in this game. I wouldn't say that the upset is that far-fetched here. Snisner works in for the Austrians. Puck will be dumped down. Heinola back for Finland. Moves it over. So back underway here for Canada and Slovakia. Rivik in the face-off dot against Thomas. Face-off won by Thomas. Whitecloud passes it up. Here comes the Canadians now. 3-on-2 back the other way. Scheifele shoots. Turned away by Hlavaj. Good stop there. Scheifele again with it now. Scheifele puts up to the point to Nurse. Long distance shot. Trying to find a tip in front. Will not go. Velarde will try and throw it over. Won't be able to get it through. Lichka back for Team Slovakia. Lichka moves it back to the defense, cycles it around, throws it back up top. Here comes Slovakia back. Oh, and a nice move there to leave the puck. Shot! Misses wide of the net. Slovaks with a nice opportunity there, coming back in the other way. Shifley will shoot it down deep. Koch back to get it for Team Slovakia. We'll move it on up to the line. Fires it down, back into the Canadian end. Greaves out to play it for Canada. Passes it up. Tavares with it now. Tavares gets over the line, throws it down to Holloway. Holloway curl, drag, shot. Tips up and over the glass. 10:45 left to go between Slovakia and Canada. Game still tied at zeros. As we check in over on Finland and Austria, still tied at zeros as well. Austrians been playing a pretty good defensive game so far. They've had a few chances, but the Finns clearly the better team in this game, and they've played like that to this point in this one. So they hit the 11-minute mark as well. If you are new here, please do smash the like button, hit subscribe. O'Reilly in the faceoff dot wins it back for Canada. Back to the line. Here's Wotherspoon. Wotherspoon long distance shot blocked by the Slovak defender. Shots on goal to this point in Canada and Slovakia 6-6 as of right now. O'Reilly with it. Slides it over to Tavares. Tavares walks out with it. Gets tripped up on the play. No call coming. Moves it over. Bouchard's shot from long distance. Misses wide of the net. Tavares with it now. Tavares along the half wall. We'll walk it up to the line. Keep it in at the line. Nice little stop up there. Tavares slides it down to Minton. Minton back to Tavares. Long distance shot blocked up top as well. Canadians have struggled to get into that middle ice area so far in this game. The Slovaks doing a very good job at blocking shots up high. Puck dumped down deep. Slovakia with it now. Fires it forward. White Cloud over to Nurse. Nurse to Minton. Minton drops it off from Martone. As they enter the line, that will be ruled offside. 9:41 left to go in the first period. As we'll head to another power break in Canada and Slovakia. 9:41 left to go in the first period. Heinola shot from long distance and kicker with a nice diving and sprawling save there. As we'll head to a power break over in Finland and Austria. 9:34 left to go in their game as well. As we check in on our poll today, we will see Canada currently in the lead with 58% of the vote, 73 votes registered, 42% for Slovakia, a pretty even one to start the day. I expect that to continue to change as this day does go along. Let me know your score predictions down in our chat if you have not already. You know, there are two goalies currently in the world with 97 save percentage. It only makes sense and expect Oakland. Oakland has been tremendous in his games that he's played so far. I mean, he was a big reason why they beat Sweden yesterday. But also, he's had, I think it was 2 shutout games to start this tournament as well. Like, the Norwegian team has looked good in their games so far. It's just, unfortunately, they've missed out on a few chances here and there. You think about their game against the Slovaks, lost by a goal there. Think about their game against... they played Canada, nearly won that game, ended up losing it late. They've had a lot of very strong games so far at this tournament that, frankly, have just kind of got lost in the last few minutes. Slovak fans, I would say it's probably about 75-25 in comparison with the Canadians by what we've seen so far as the cheers as well as the overall standings. Or stands, fans in the stands, something like that. As Nurse takes it now, Nurse will fire it down around the boards. Hlavy out to play it for Slovakia. Tries to rim it back around. Slovaks now, but kept at the line by Martone. Oh, and he tries to find Connor Brown, who is loose in front. Nurse pinches down the half wall. And will fire it back down around. Puck comes up, and a little bit of extracurriculars after the whistle. Martone jumps a Slovak player. Fasko Rudash is in the area. Gatos, Martone coming together after this whistle. Not sure who's at the bottom of that pile, but Pospisil was in there. He came in late, though. Oh, it is Christian Pospisil. A guy who basically cost his team yesterday against the Czechs. Kind of that more gritty type of player. If you're looking for that kind of player comp, he'd be very similar to a guy like Matthew Tkachuk or Brad Marchand. Oh, he just got high-sticked in the face there. Austrian player down. Finland looks back in the other way. Moves to the net. Granlund with it still. Shot. Oh, wow. A lot of pressure here. The Austrian player able to get off the ice. Some pressure coming from the Finns. Puck moved around. Stretch pass. Misses. That's going to go the length of the ice for icing. Canada will have another offensive zone draw here. Barkov walks in with the Barkov shot from long distance. Blocked up high. Moves it over. Hellenius with it. Hellenius wanders in. Throws it down to Granlund. Granlund back to Hellenius. Goes for a jam play out front. Unable to connect with that puck. Granlund with it. Shot from long distance in Canada and Slovakia. Covered up by Lavi. He'll play it out. Flips it down deep. Slovakia in to go get it. And that'll be ruled offside. Okuliar is incensed by that call. Cannot believe it. A reminder, we'll be having our day recap video coming out later tonight, where we will talk about the day that was, and it's been a pretty big day for the standings, although the games not necessarily too early ruled icing in Canada and Slovakia. Although games haven't been too surprising to this point, there has been a little bit of movement in the standings, and of course we'll break all that down. Puck rimmed around. Matejchuk keeps in at the line for Canada, but hits off the bench, I believe. Play will come back into the Slovak end. Oliver Okuliar. 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points, and a +2 for his plus-minus rating so far in this tournament. We talked about him in our preview being a guy who you need to see kind of take his game to the next level if they wanted to be successful at this tournament. Done a pretty good job. Celebrini over to Crosby. Unable to connect there. Prime opportunity for the Canadian team. As the Slovaks will collect it behind the net. Moves it upward. Oh, and poked off there. Celebrini works in. Celebrini curls, Drake shoots. Lavi able to make the stop. 8:24 left to go. As not entirely sure what the ice crew's doing over there. Looks like they might be trying to clear some blood off the ice. Celebrini were I was about to say that play looked awfully familiar. Just got caught. I just got caught trying to call a replay. Whoops. Not the first time I've done that. Won't be the last time I've done that. Currently in our poll, 90 votes registered, 61% of people saying Team Slovakia will end up pulling through with the victory today. Play comes back up ice. DeMello plays it back. Moves it over. Here comes Canada now. Back up the other way. Thomas fires it down deep. Lavi over to Scheifele. But the Slovaks able to control. In come Team Slovakia. Kamek with it now. Tries to feed it over. And back up come the Canadians now. Trying to find numbers. Scheifele throws on the gap. Throws across ice. Nice pass there. Trying to hit Nurse. Nurse gets the puck poked off him. And back in come Slovakia. Tries to throw it to the line. Unable to keep it in though. Puck played down below the boards. Canadians with it. Nurse able to hold on to it. Nurse will look up ice. Stretch pass to Ryan O'Reilly now. O'Reilly drops it back off to Holloway. Holloway with it. Tries to feed over Tavares. Gets broken up. And the Slovaks will work back up the other way. Will dump it down. Nurse first on it for Canada. Slides it over to Whitecloud. Whitecloud passes up. Tipped in there by Tavares. Oh, turnover. Minton shot. Hlavai able to make the glove save there. Turnover right onto the stick of Fraser Minton. Pretty much in prime shooting area. But unable to capitalize on it. We're the Canadian team. Minton runs into the Slovak defender. As backup come Canada now. Martone throws it back. What a nice hit there by Minton. Some pressure coming. Radovojevic. Nice play there. Koch with it now. We'll slide it up the boards. Puck comes loose. Where's the puck? And Slovakia works back in. Shot. Whiffs on it. Another chance. Unable to find it through. Fasko Rudash there with the prime opportunity for the Slovak team. I say prime opportunity a lot. So shifted up ice. Fasko Rudash. Stretch pass over there. Moves it over. Oh, and a nice play there. Nearly able to find it. Austria chance. Unable to get past Annunen though. Puck will be flipped up ice. Cousins in now. Cousins shot. Scores! Dylan Cousins makes it 1-0. Canada gets on the board early. Dylan Cousins snipes it top shelf, and Canada takes the lead in this one. Canada 1, Slovakia 0. Cousins' 4th goal of this tournament gets Canada on the board in a big game for them here. Crosby just flipped it up ice, and Cousins first on it for the Canadians, takes it and snipes it over Hlavai's shoulder. Canada 1, Slovakia 0. Over in Austria and Finland, game is still tied at 0s. 3 minutes left to go now in this first period for them. Icing call against Canada. Puck will come back into their own defensive end. It's a very intense, interesting game so far. It really has been. This has been a great game so far. Really for both sides, actually. And I know you look at the scoreline and say, oh, Canada's up. But the Austrians... That puck looks like it went through the net. The Austrians have, or the Slovaks rather, have played a really good game so far in this one. Same thing with Finland and Austria, honestly. It's looking like we're going to have a pretty good game here. It's Thomas with the puck. We'll shoot it back up ice. We'll stay in, though. Each go back to get it for Team Slovakia. Moves it in. Okuliar. Matejchuk takes it. Just flip it back up ice. Koch back for the Slovaks. Lichka with the puck now. We'll drop it off. Up come Team Slovakia. Kamek with it now. Nice move there at the line. Kamek tries to make a move, but taken away there was Darnell Nurse with the puck. Nurse will wheel it up for Canada. Passes it over to Thomas, who gets that puck knocked off from Kamek. Trying to move it up, but a little bit of a weird play there. Stretch pass trying to hit Scheifele on a break, and Hlavai out to play it there. Scheifele with it now. Mark Scheifele on the wall. Slides it over. Thomas, curl, Drake, shoots! And a good save there by Hlavai. Thomas with just the goaltender to beat. Could not get it past Hlavai. As we'll head, I believe, to the power break over in that game. We check back in on Finland and Austria. Game still is tied at 0-0. They're also on a power break right now. Thoughts on UK versus Latvia? I wouldn't say I was surprised by the way that game played out. Latvia is the far better team than Great Britain, but I don't think I was expecting it to be that bad of a blow. Because we tend to see, as Finland will actually out of the power play here, we tend to see a little bit of struggle when it comes to Latvia when they're playing against weaker opponents, just because what it really defines the Latvian team is how well they play and how structurally defensive that they are, because they basically make you make mistakes. And if you're Great Britain, you're not really going to be in the offensive zone that much. So you tend to get a little bit more stretched out if you are Latvia, and you can sometimes struggle with that. But I thought they did a pretty good job of just kind of keeping within themselves. Why don't you turn on the volume and chill? Well, that just wouldn't be the fun of it, would it? Plus, I don't want to get copyright struck. Finns move it over to Granlund, who at the point, Finland on this power play here, 2:15 left to go in the first period. Game still tied at 0, looking for the first goal here on the power play. Nisner goes off for Austria for tripping. Barkov to the point, Puistila to Helenius, Puistila back over to Lundell. Lundell slides it down low. Tries to move it forward, can't. And Austria will take the puck and fire at the length of the ice. Throw the front to Varis, who was left alone in front of the net, could not get to the rebound. 4:03 left to go in the first period. Canada leading by a goal over Slovakia. Over in Finland and Austria, 1:30 left to go in the period. 1 minute and 5 seconds left on this power play. Heinola shot from long distance. Look at the rebound. Granlund shot. Scores! Finland won on the power play. Mikael Granlund with the goal. Finland 1, Austria 0. Power play goal for Team Finland. Max was very good today as well, yes. And he'll need to be big. If you're Latvia, you need your best players to be at their best. And I thought Max had a great game today. He'll need to be big as well against Hungary tomorrow. Slovaks in the corner, shot, misses wide of the net. Shots on goal through this first period so far, 10-7 in favor of Slovakia. Shot from long distance, misses wide of the net. Kromiak slides it over to Sikora. Sikora back to the line. Radovojevic passes it over. Sikora ties up down low in the corner. Connor Brown works up with it now. Slides it over to Fraser Minton. Minton will dump it down deep. 3 minutes left to go now in Canada and Slovakia. We hit the 1 minute mark left to go in the first period between Finland and Austria. Finland in the lead 1-0. Mikael Granlund scores on the power play to make it a 1-0 game. And puck picked off. Crosby works back in with Celebrini. Celebrini pass over to Crosby. Shot. This is wide of the net there. Tough angle. Witherspoon slides it back around. Kamak back to get it for the Slovaks. Lichka flips it out. Hrivik takes the puck and dumps it down deep. Knocked into the boards there. Feed it around. Couillard turns the corner there and tries to throw it out front, but no one there for the Slovaks to knock it home. Two minutes now to play. DeMello over to Riley. Riley stretch pass there to Scheifele. 1:50 left to go in the first period. Moves it up. Scheifele. Puck comes out on a weird bounce there. The Slovak defender gets knocked over. Thomas now throws to the point. DeMello shot. Rebound turned away. And a nice stop there by Hlavaj. And 2-on-2 evolving now. Velarde with it. Velarde works down low. Velarde, gets boarded in there. Don't believe there'll be a penalty call there. Thomas walks in. Thomas loses the puck, and Scheifele now with it. Scheifele makes a move. Shot through traffic. Can't quite find it in. Shot from long distance there. Greaves able to make the save. As we hit the first intermission here between Austria and Finland, 1-0 the score going there. Over in Canada and Slovakia, we just hit the 1 minute mark left to go in this period. Tavares works over to Nurse. Nurse will fling it around. Razondic flips it up for the Slovaks. Fasko Rudash gets tied up down in the corner. White Cloud with it now. 30 seconds to go left in this period. Kamek takes the puck. Kamek gets tied up with Tavares. Over to Holloway. O'Reilly. Chromiak. 15 seconds left to go as the puck comes in. That could have been ruled offside. Puck gets flipped up. And Gatos with it now will fire it around the boards. Canada 1, Slovakia 0, heading into the first intermission. A pretty good game so far. Is this quarters? Nope, this is the preliminary round. We have Canada and Slovakia in the first game of the day, this will be the second set of games. Today, our marquee feature of this second set is Canada taking on Slovakia, as well Finland and Austria playing in our other game. Finland has played a relatively dominant game so far, currently leading on the scoreboard 1-0. Mikael Granlund on the power play with 1 minute and 21 seconds left to go in this game. Where can I watch it live? If you're trying to watch it, you can find that on TSN. If you're in Canada, you can find that on NHL Network if you are in the US. And you can find in Europe, I'm sure someone can probably share a link with you there. Just depends on where you're watching from. VPNs, I don't really know if that works. I'm not terribly well versed in that, so someone sure can help you in our chat. Latvia NHL players not playing at all this year, yet the Americans still complaining about how they sent a bad roster in the comments. It is interesting to me because especially for the U.S. team, and I mean, they do have a very poor roster. You think about it, for the Americans, coming off an Olympic win, coming off being defending world champions as well, there is quite a bit that you have to be careful with, especially for this team, because now it's, if they lose their last game of the tournament, they're knocked out, right? Like that's not an easy thing to do. So we'll see for the US. I'm excited. Please win Canada for us, Sweden. Well, yeah, I guess because, I mean, for Slovakia and Sweden now, they're in a bit of a weird spot too, where, I mean, it kind of follows the same thing with the US and with the US and with Sweden, where both those teams are going to play each other at kind of the end of this tournament. If the Swedes lose to Slovakia, they're knocked out. They're not making it onto the playoff rounds. Same thing with Austria and the U.S., assuming the U.S. wins their game, their game in between then. But they do need to kind of find their groove, because at this point in the tournament, it is shaping out to be a bit of an issue for them, right? Because you kind of think about these last few games. Today is the third last day of the preliminary round. Tomorrow, May 25th, you have the USA and Hungary. The U.S. needs to win that game. If they lose that game, they're eliminated. Well, would they be eliminated? They'd be pretty close to eliminated, if not eliminated from the playoff round. Do you have any revisions on the score between the Finland-Switzerland game? I still expect Finland to win. I'm just curious. Our scoreline we predicted was 3-1 Finland in that game. I wouldn't say that that's changed all that much. I still do believe that I still do believe that the Swiss will win their rematch. I think Finland wins in the preliminary round. I think they get up early, they hold on to the lead, they basically suffocate this game away, like we've seen them do pretty much all tournament long. But then I think that as much as that is going to end up happening, I do still expect the Swiss to end up taking it in the end. Like I think that they end up meeting for gold now, just because of the way that these groups are situated. And with Canada going to overtime against Norway, it meant that they lost a point. And so they'll basically be the second overall seed entering the semifinal round. And so my personal prediction of what's going to happen is that Finland or Switzerland or whoever ends up taking that game will end up first overall. Second and third, we'll see both Canada and Switzerland, Finland, the win or lose or whatever, find their way into that semifinal round. I think we could also see, and this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, is depending on where the rest of these teams seed, for the Czechs, for Slovakia, for Norway, for Sweden, as well as over on the Group A side for Germany, for Latvia, Austria, and the U.S. I could see some upsets being pulled in that quarterfinal round. I just think the best one we're going to see is going to be that second versus third game. Whoever comes 1 and 2 in Group A is going to blow the daylights out of the 3 and 4 in Group B, whether it be the Slovaks, whether it be Sweden, whether it be the Czechs or the Slovak, whoever it might be. I don't suspect that game will be all that close, but I do think that there is an interesting case for whoever ends up the second seed, whether it's the Czechs, the Slovaks, Norway, whoever ends up in that second seed second seed over in Group B, for whoever plays the third seed in Group A, because the Group A third seed is a little bit more up in arms, whether it be Latvia, who I'd say is my favorite as of this point, because I do expect the U.S. to kind of sneak their way into that second spot, or that fourth spot rather, and end up taking the top team over in Group B, which should be Canada. But if Czechia goes out and plays Latvia, I could see an upset there. If Norway plays Latvia, I'm not sure which way the upset would fall, but that would be an upset for them to both be there. If it's the Slovaks, I could see Latvia beating Slovakia. If it's Sweden, I could see them beating Sweden. If it's Canada, I honestly could see Latvia beating Canada too at this tournament. They play very similar to how they did against the U.S. They could definitely pull off an upset there. It'd be much more unlikely just because this Canadian team is a lot better than what the U.S. is bringing. But there's so many different pathways that could potentially happen at this tournament. But at the same time, once again, we talked about this yesterday, went through every possible scenario and then basically concluded it with, we are still way too early to call, because there's so many games against each respective team that could very well reshape an entire tournament, because there still are 10 games left at this tournament before we are concluded, and a lot of them are playing the teams that are currently being fought for with respect to those seeding spots. So the head-to-head tiebreakers keep switching up. So it is really interesting to me and it's a good question, kind of, if my predictions have changed at this point, but the issue is that we're still kind of a little bit too far out to try and predict that. I still believe that your final 3 teams are going to be Canada, Finland, and Switzerland. It's going to depend on who those semifinal seeds are, but ultimately, I do think that the Swiss and the Finns will see each other now in the gold medal game, just because of the way these seeds are going to end up shaping out, with Canada bleeding out a point against Norway. And then we'll see Canada taking home bronze, Finland and Switzerland for gold. And I'm taking the Swiss for gold. I just think that the power of home ice is a huge deal. And we saw it with the 24 Worlds, with the Czechs pulling through with the victory there. I feel it's very similar with that kind of Cinderella story. The Finns are absolutely favored in that game. I would consider them favorites there. No, it wouldn't be a huge favorite, but I definitely consider the Finns favorites in that game. But with the home crowd, it's so difficult to bet against the Swiss. Let's see here. Sweden played horrible against Norway yesterday. They didn't play great. They really missed a lot of their key chances, which was the issue. I know the coaching came under quite a bit of scrutiny as well. You're putting players that shouldn't be out there when they should be out there, and players that should be out there that shouldn't be out there. Lot of issues there so far for the Swedish team, especially around their coaching. Sam Alam in his last year, and so much to the joy of our Swedish viewers, but it is unfortunate to see. I'd say, wait, where's he here? They're knocked out already, the U.S. The U.S. isn't knocked out yet. They still have the potential if they go out and beat Hungary, as well as if they go and beat the Austrian team at the end of this tournament. They will end up making the playoff rounds. They still do control their destiny. However, once again, it's very unlikely for Germany. Germany's all but knocked out. They'll ultimately need Latvia to end up losing, which I don't see happening. So for Germany, it's a bit of a hope bomb there. Then they need to beat Great Britain as well, which I don't think the Germans will have that much problem with Great Britain. But the upset game there is quite potentially the game against Latvia and Hungary, where if the Hungarians play a very strong defensive game, like we have seen them do pretty much all tournament long, there is definitely a potential for upset there. They were knocked out already with the very offensive style the Swiss have been playing. I assume they score more than one, even if they might end up losing the group stage round. I would say that you're going to see them as well. The issue with it is that they haven't played a legitimate team yet, if that makes sense, right? Because for Switzerland, a team that's legitimate as far as a team that's equal to their skill set, and that's part of the reason why they've been so dominant, is because they accept the fact that if they allow a goal, they allow a goal. They don't really care about that because they're just going to bury whoever they're playing because their offensive capabilities are so strong. However, when you go up against the Finns, the offensive capabilities are equal, if not worse, against that team. And so we're going to see them play a little bit more defensive, I would expect. I think especially in this group play, you're going to see that first period go scoreless just because both teams are going to try and feel each other out. We're trying to see kind of where each other are because once again, the Swiss, the closest team they've played to a team to the level of Finland was the US, maybe? Like it hasn't, like Group A is just so weak that it doesn't merit any kind of I need to play defense in these games because they haven't had to worry about that because their teams that they're playing just aren't quite to that level. But when you go up against the Finns, who are a full 200-foot team, they play good offensively, they play good defensively, it's going to be very difficult for them to kind of find their groove, if you will. And so, like, obviously, we'll see kind of how that game shakes out, but I do think that first period is going to be especially defensive just because these two teams haven't played that level of talent yet at this tournament. And so I think we're going to see a little bit of feeling each other out early. Second period, I expect a lot of the offense to come. And in the third period, I do expect the Finns to basically just sit on their lead. I think Finland could find 3 goals in that second period and then just kind of sit on their lead. The Swiss probably get one late, and then that should probably do it. With the very, we did that one. I say Swiss first, Canada second, Finland third. Could definitely see that depending on what those quarterfinal match or the semifinal matchups are. Very likely, depending on who ends up taking this group. If Switzerland takes the group, we won't see Switzerland and Canada play each other. Instead, we'll likely see Canada and Finland play against each other. And so if Canada and Finland play against each other, once again, you could see that. Any 3 of those teams, when they play each other, are going to be considered kind of those coin flip type games where you could see it go either way. I still do give the slight edge to both Finland and Switzerland in that game if they play Canada. But outside of that, like Switzerland and Finland are so close on paper. You factor in home ice as well. I do just think that it's a little bit too much that they're going to be able to kind of pull off that big upset. We are about 4 minutes away here from Finland and Austria resuming, probably about 6 or 7 minutes away from Finland or from Slovakia and Canada. Thing is, Swiss play very aggressive, yes, but the Finns play exactly to counter those forward-heavy teams exactly. And I think they'll also realize that and kind of be a little bit more tentative, which is why I would suspect, at least early on, that it won't be too much of an issue. The only way I can see the Swiss only scoring 1 goal in that game is if the Finns systematically force a complete shutdown of the offense. I wouldn't even say that that's that far-fetched either, right? Because they are a very good defensive team, the Finns are, and it'll be interesting to see which side of the game they end up pulling through with. Norwegian and Swiss, second-generation Canadian, so always Canada first. I love it. Yeah, hopefully Canada can pull through with the victory today. That would be nice, especially after their tough game to start this tournament. Regardless of how accurate his prediction on the score is, I'm very sure it'll be a banger of a game. It really will be, and that's what I always say. Like, there's certain games you look at, and it's like this game could legitimately go either way. You're placing your prediction really on the bar of nothing. It's just kind of we say a coin flip type of game, but yeah, it is tough. And also to finish off the group stage 2, yep, for sure, good. We have had a tremendous it's been so much fun to cover this tournament this year. If you remember back, and I'm not sure how many people would be around for that part of time when we didn't actually cover this tournament. Our first year covering it was the 2024 run. we only covered the playoff rounds. And the very first thing I said on that is, this one's one of my least favorite tournaments to cover because it is so predictable. And it was coming into that tournament in particular, because every year it was the same. You had the same kind of results outside of that 1 in 23, where we saw a little bit of shakeup in those big three standings. It was always kind of a predictable tournament. This one coming in has been so unpredictable. It's been great to see. And part of the beauty of covering these tournaments over the last few years, we've done the Women's World since 21. We've done the Olympic Games since 22. The World Juniors since, I believe, 23 is when we did our first full coverage of that tournament, with all our day recaps. The World Championships, we started last year for full coverage, picked it up in 24 in those playoff rounds. Women's under 18s, we started this year. Men's under 18s, we picked up in the playoffs in 25, did a full coverage of that this year. It's been great to see just how competitive the international landscape has gotten over these last few years. And I mean, it's amazing. Like, it's great to see how it kind of goes. Just curious, does Canada and USA get the games only on paid TV? They do. And so basically that is on TSN, which is like the main, one of two main sporting networks here in Canada. And so there's also what's called Sportsnet, which is kind of the other one. They typically take most of the NHL games, but TSN does a lot of the IIHF stuff. Same here in Switzerland. I've been watching the free streams from the NHL channel, but they haven't shown all of them. Yep. Yeah, that's part of the issue too, is they like to be a little stingy with it. On the fly, it's just under TSN. Swedish fans expect a medal. I would say that they shouldn't have their hopes too high as of this point. I'd say more so worry about making the playoffs first, because even if they make the playoffs, it's going to be a near brutal run for them. If they're going to end up taking a medal, they'll likely, as of this point, have to go through Finland, Switzerland, or Canada. They'll have to go through Finland or Switzerland in that quarterfinals, then likely Canada, Switzerland, or Finland in the semifinals, and then whoever they can play for bronze. So I wouldn't put too much hope on that, but I mean, I guess you do never know. Actually, if Austria gets 1 point today, U.S. loses one tomorrow. Austria only needs overtime to knock out the U.S. Very true. We are just about back and we are back now for second period action here between Finland and Austria. Canada and Slovakia have taken the ice here as well. And so we will see, as this game does go along, whether or not the Canadians are going to be able to pull through with the victory today. Or if the Slovaks could potentially get that first nail in the coffin on Team Sweden. Ratu now works in. Ratu shoots. Turned away by Kickert. Some might say it was kicked away. But I'm here all day, folks. Heinola tries the long-distance shot. Gets blocked by the Austrian player. And back up come Team Austria now. Pospisil in the face-off dot against Celebrini. And Celebrini takes the opening draw, and we are back underway for second period action here between Canada and Slovakia. We will see today which team will end up prevailing. Crosby with it now, throws it back up top, the length of the ice down. Moves it over, Celebrini's shot. This is way wide of the net. Wotherspoon gets knocked over. Pospisil moves it forward, but puck broken up there. Wotherspoon with it now. Pass it down to Celebrini. Celebrini with the move. Walks in over the line. Celebrini with it. Holds. Tries to throw it cross ice. Gets broken up. Rivik tries to turn it back. He will. Kamek passes it up the boards. Back onto Celebrini's stick. We throw it back to his defender. Velarde will dump it down deep. Scheifele, first one on it for Canada. Koch, though, able to take that puck and move it up. Kamek. With it. Slides it forward to Lichka. Lichka with it now. Slides it around. Kept in at the line. With Slovaks there. Lichka over to Rivik. Rivik throws it down low. Lichka with it now. Throws it out front. Cannot find it through. Thomas with the puck. Thomas to Scheifele, who was all alone in front of the net, but hit a stick in front on the way. Gatos moves it over to Lichka. The puck will come down ice. Comes flying out. O'Reilly now tries to get up to Holloway, but Nazko takes it forward. Here comes the Slovaks. Now we ruled offside at the line. Surprising there. Sikora there for the Slovaks, about to work in. 17:11 left to go in Finland and Austria. Finland still leads by a goal. Canada, Slovakia, 1-0 Canada. Gets on the board first. Dylan Cousins with the goal for Team Canada. Mikael Granlund gets the goal for Team Finland. Granlund on the power play as well. Throws it out front. Oh my gosh, what a play there from Finland. As the Finns have made it now 2-0. Saku Manalainen gets this Finnish team on the board for their second of this game. Finland 2, Austria 0. What a play. A beautiful saucer pass on that one. Tavares over to O'Reilly. O'Reilly sides back to the point to Wotherspoon to Bouchard. Long distance shot. Blocked up top. Dylan Holloway. Holloway shoots for it. Sturback, though, able to collect it for the Slovaks and start to look ahead. O'Reilly with a nice turn there. Looking for Tavares on the backside. Tavares with the puck now. To Bouchard shot. Bouchard again still has the puck. Tries to backhand it forward. Can't. Majar back for the Slovaks. But Wotherspoon, a nice defensive play there to keep Philip Majar away from the net. Puck comes down deep. Lavai out to play for the Slovaks. Radovojevic. Stretch past to Sederle. And be fired down deep. Sikora. First one on it there for the Slovaks. And the puck will remain in Slovak possession here. Moves it around. Sikora with it. Tries to move it up. Gets sticked there. And Martone for Canada shifts up to Connor Brown. He'll dump it in. Moves forward. Stretch pass now. And Minton walks in with it. Drops back to Brown. Oh, and tries to feed it over to Martone, but broken up. Martone passes it off to Connor Brown. Connor Brown now throws it around the boards to Celebrini. Celebrini to Martone. Martone. DeMello, nearly too many men. Oh, and they are going to call it there. Canada with way too many men on the ice. As Crosby jumped onto the ice there. And Canada will go shorthanded. An uncharacteristic mental mistake there. Wow, it's a tough penalty to take. As the Slovaks will head to the power play. Tough penalty to take. We'll see whether or not this Slovak team can get themselves on the board here. Rivik loses the face-off draw. Nurse for Canada will rim it around the boards, but hits up and out of play. Be ruled not a penalty for delay game, and the puck will remain at least in the the Canadian end here. Finland 2, Austria 0. Rozandic for Slovakia fire it down deep. Now they will take it, move it forward, and up come Canada shorthanded now. Ryan O'Reilly works in. O'Reilly will just flip it on to Lavai. He looks at the wraparound attempt, gets taken away there and loses a stick. O'Reilly goes off for a change after losing his stick. And Rozandic will collect it for Team Slovakia. Takes it forward. Passes it over. Plays it back up. Moves it over to Hrivik. Shot! Covered up there by Greaves. Will the Flames actually let Vigo fall to Seattle? Who knows? You never know. What are the chances that Latvia gets to the semis? We were talking a little about this earlier. It really does depend on their matchup. Like, in a perfect scenario, the Latvians get, like, Sweden. But, like, they won't be getting Sweden. I don't suspect, at least. Barring any, like, absolute crazy meltdowns in the final few games. But, like, the Norwegians would be an ultimate matchup. If they get Norway, it's a better chance. And if they don't, if it's the Czechs, probably unlikely they make it through. If it's Slovakia, probably unlikely they make it through. But the way that they've been playing really all tournament long, they've just been getting better and better. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's all that unlikely, but it's also definitely not a likely occurrence. Culiar with it. Throws it back up to the point. Radovojevic slides it over to Pospisil. Back to Radovojevic. Radovojevic with the puck. Skates and walks the line. Throws it back. Shot from long distance. Bouncing puck. And the puck comes just over the goal net there and hits off the side. Looks like it was what went in. Chromiak tries to keep it at the line, but O'Reilly able to knock it out. And Culiar for Team Slovakia walks in with it now. Dump it back to the point. 10 seconds left to go on this power play. Radovojevic walks the line. 3 seconds left to go. Culiar, we're back to even strength. Radovojevic, dangerous minute now. Chromiak waits, shoots. Greaves with a nice pad save there. Pospisil hands it over to Culiar. Over to Chromiak. Puck gets tied up, though. And Canada will work it back up ice. Martone skates it up now. Martone with O'Reilly. Martone wanders in. Goes behind the net. Martone drops it off to Celebrini. Celebrini with it. Tries to saucer it forward. Ends up getting broken up there. Austria will be on the power play here as well. Celebrini's shot. Oh my goodness, he glove saved that there. What a stop by Hlavai. Celebrini walked in pretty much unguarded too. We head to the power break here. 13-11 left to go in Canada and Slovakia. So we check in over on Austria and Finland. 109 left to go in this power play. 12:30 left to go in the second period between Finland and Austria. Both these teams looking for a big win. For Finland, trying to get the win so that they can still remain in the hunt for the top spot. And if they lose, they still need to go out and beat the Swiss. But more so with respect to the point seeding, you definitely want to win in this game. For Austria, now trying to make the playoff rounds, their spot is in question. After Latvia's big win over Team USA, Austria's best chance of doing so, and really only chance of doing so, will be to knock out whether Hungary beats, if Hungary goes out and beats Latvia and Great Britain beats Germany, then they still do have a shot. But realistically, they need to go and beat Team USA if they want to end up making that next round for the quarterfinals at least. We'll see whether they can do it coming off of a quarterfinal appearance last year, one of their biggest or one of their best performances in a very long time. I would expect them to be coming out guns a-blazing in their game against Team USA, an American team that has struggled so far at this tournament, but we will see. Granlund with a nice move there, but gets the puck knocked out. And that'll do it for the Austrian power play here. Puck gets shot around. Shot from long distance, covered up by Hlavai, as the Canada game does resume. As a Latvian, I'm more scared of the game against Norway than Canada. Well, I'm more worried as a Canadian of that game against Latvia than really any other team who they'll probably end up playing. What in the world is going on there? Oh, they're singing the Swiss goal song. Song gets stuck in your head so easily too. Rivik in the face-off draw against Tavares. Tavares loses the draw, and the Slovaks will take it. Puck knocked up over the head, but Tavares will keep it in. Tavares playing with Celebrini and Crosby. Bit of a mismatched line here. Going for, I guess, a lot of offense. Wotherspoon slides it over to Tavares at the line, but the puck broken up. Okuliar stretch passes it up now. Lichka fire it down deep. Greaves out to play it. Weird play there. Celebrini throws it across ice there to Crosby. Crosby with the puck tries to shoot it, but blocked up top there by Koch. Fires it forward. Wotherspoon able to keep it in there at the line. 12:20 left to go in the period. Heinle shot. Kicker. Masks it away. And the puck will go the length of the ice for icing in Canada and Slovakia. Old and the new remix, both of them for sure. Yeah, that song's gonna be stuck in my head for the rest of the day now. So it is such a good goal song. Thomas lines up with the face-off dot against Rivik. Thomas with the face-off win. DeMello slides it over to Riley. Riley tries to hit Scheifele, can't. Okuliar will work back in. Stretch pass now. DeMello with it. Tries to hit the long pass. Unable to do so. Rimmed around the boards. 11:50 left to go in this period. Thomas fires it around the boards. Lavai out to play it. Passes it over. Here comes the Slovaks back in. Shot. Matejchuk able to get his stick on that one. Also, I like how comments talk about anything but the live games. That's part of the fun of it too. We do have a fair number. I know we have a lot of Latvian people who tend to watch these live streams as well. A lot of Latvians, a lot of Slovaks, a lot of Czechs. Oh, he take a stick to the face. A few Canadians, or Canadians I'll say, have been definitely diminishing pretty quickly. I mean, we all see the games going on. We don't see our fellow chatters and know about their days. Exactly. Moves it back up to the point. Walks the line. Rozandic over to Radovojevic. Radovojevic slides the puck down over. Oh, and a nice move there. Walks in, shoots, scores! The Slovaks have got back on the board. Christian Pospisil for Slovakia makes it a 1-1 game. Oh, gosh. No, not again. Not again. Please, no. Don't do it. Oh, why can't they just have an easy game? Okay. This is going to be bad. Slovaks have tied it there. Pospisil. The great move there on O'Reilly burns him. And then goes for gold. Pospisil. Great shot. Beats Greaves on the glove side. (15-12) the shots for Slovakia, or for Canada so far in this one. Got a very bad feeling about this. Puck played up with a step there. Goes for gold. Where's the puck? And a great play there by Chederle to have an opportunity. Radovojevic moves it over to Chromiak. Chromiak with it now. And Finland has scored their third goal of the game. Puljujärvi over there for the Finns. If Slovaks win, who's the most likely to get second in Group B? I want to say if they win, these standings will be so jumbled. If my personal expectation is if they would win, I think it would still be likely the Czechs. Although, well, it's so hard to say, honestly. Like, this is what we were kind of talking about yesterday, was that the standings are just too close right now. Cousins tries to feed it over to Crosby. Because it could be, realistically, it could be Canada, it could be the Czechs, or it could be the Slovaks who end up in that second spot. I'd say the Slovaks are probably a little bit more likely, just because they kind of jump up the Czech team. But honestly, like, the Czech-Canada game then becomes so much more important for both sides, because you want to try and avoid having to play the impossible seed in Switzerland and Finland. So that's an excellent question. Probably my answer would be it's still a little bit too early to call, but same time, it's it'd be probably it's still one of those three teams most likely. Bouchard walks it, shoots, misses wide of the net. Halavai couldn't see it. The Austrians work back in. Moves it over. Wotherspoon with it. Wotherspoon drops it off to Whitecloud. Whitecloud throws on the brakes. Whitecloud with it. Slides it over to Scheifele. Scheifele around the boards to Thomas. Thomas with the puck for Canada. Nurse shot from long distance. Rebound chance. It's loose. Thomas. Oh, and a great save by Lavai. Finland has made it 4-0 in their game. Though the Canadians with a lot of offensive zone possession time here. Thomas, penalty upcoming. And they shoot into the empty net. Whitecloud, oh, that's not going to like that. A high stick there. I believe that'll be on the goaltender. Or it'll be against the goaltender. And I think the Slovaks will head to the power play as Canada, I'm not sure who it was, looked to a high stick to Lavai as he goes off the ice gingerly. As we had mentioned, the Finns have made it 4-0 over in their game over Team Austria. Why? Why does Canada have to suck at hockey every year now? They haven't won a gold medal at a IIHF tournament since last year's men's under-18 World Championships. Their last, legitimate gold medal at one of these tournaments was it the 24 Women's Worlds? I think it was the 2024 Women's World Championships was their last, non-under-18 tournament that they've actually won something in. It has been a very long time to answer your question. Or not that anyone even asked a question, but I'm asking the question because Canada stinks. Everything about this team stinks. Shots on goal so far in Finland and Austria. Finland has outshot this Austrian team 18-4. And you think about it, right? For the Austrians, they've had some very tough games as of late. Got blown out by Switzerland 9-0. So showing it now. To be honest, I didn't catch what happened on that last play. But Velarde will go to the box for a high sticking. Slovakia will head to the power play in hopes of tying or taking the lead in this one over the Canadians. Cousins in the face-off dot against Martin Pospisil. I do a very bad job of clarifying that. I always forget there's two of them. Christian Pospisil out here as well. Radovojevic, Okuliar, and Chromiak for the Slovaks for their power play unit. Chromiak with it now. Takes it. Chromiak down low to Okuliar. Okuliar with it. Back up top. Over to Pospisil. Christian. Over to Radivojevic. Radivojevic, Chromiak shot. Misses wide of the net. Couillard tried to get there on the last chance. Radivojevic again. Walks the line. Passes it over to Chromiak. Chromiak with it. Walks on in. Throws on the brakes. Shot. Looking for a rebound in front. Cleared out. And Radivojevic tries to keep it in. Connor Brown now chasing him, trying to get that shorthanded chance. Chromiak will fire it around. Greaves tries and knocks it down, but can't. Slides across ice. Chromiak walks in, shoots! Greaves with a big mask save to keep that one out. Huge opportunity there. And works back in. Uh-oh. Shot. Oh, and great save there by Greaves on the low blocker side. And Canada now works back in. Ryan O'Reilly with the opportunity. O'Reilly throws the break, shoots, but turned away there by Rozandic. End-to-end action we go. Rozandic keeps the puck in for the Slovaks, but the puck will be shot all the way down the ice. And Rozandic will collect it back in Slovakia's end. Lichka, fire it down deep. Takes it over. Rivik to Lichka. Lichka takes it, passes up to the point. Rozandic will fire it around, over to Rivik. Passes it back there. Takes it now to Rivik. Back up to the point to Rozandic. Tries to slide it over there to Mejar. Back to Rozandic. Oh, nice saucer pass there. Rivik. Shot. Looking for the rebound chance in front. Penalty comes to an end. Oh, and a great opportunity there from Lichka, but a great stop by Jet Greaves. Power play comes to an end, and Canada remains tied with Slovakia. Everyone can breathe a little bit here. Just take a nice deep breath, okay? Okay. Surprise shots on goal are close. I feared Canada would run away with the shots on goal, and we have to rely on our goalie. They've been pretty even so far. And that's, I'll be honest, we were kind of expecting that too, because like the Slovaks aren't that much worse than the Canadians. Obviously, the Canadians are the better team in this one, but they're very tight. Works in shot off the face-off try. Coke there with that opportunity. And the Canadians lose the puck. Mack will dump it down deep. Canada back to get it. Riley gets roughed up there. Puck wanders its way out. Kamek with the puck. Cycles it behind the Slovak net. Up come Slovakia now. Canada turns back the other way. That might have been offside. Celebrini over to Connor Brown. Passes it up to Riley. Back to Celebrini's shot. Misses way over the net. Connor Brown with it. Passes it back over to Crosby. Crosby, Celebrini's shot. Hits off the back post and slides out of play. But he actually keeps in play. Sikora with it. For Slovakia back the other way. Oh, and a weird play there by Chederle to keep that one nearly a chance coming back. Puck gets flipped up. Slides around to Bouchard. Bouchard. Over to Scheifele. To Velarde. Velarde fires it in. Sturback. Passes it up to Bouchard. Bouchard bomb from long distance. Blockered away by Lavi. Wotherspoon back to Bouchard. Bouchard tries to flip it through, but gets that puck knocked down. And the Slovaks will collect it and walk it behind their own net. Fires it back up to neutralize. Canada on that puck. Scheifele with it now walks over the blue line. Scheifele tries to feed it forward. But a nice play there from the Slovak team to keep that one out. Scheifele again will walk it over the line. Passes it over Thomas. Thomas back to Scheifele. Shot! Good save there by Lavi to come across. Scheifele with it now. Scheifele flips it over. Back, gets it back. Back down to Whitecloud, who starts to throw it in front of Velarde. Cannot find it in. Wotherspoon flips it over to Thomas. Thomas tries to get over to Velarde. Flips it up. 4:10 left to go in the second period. As Christian Pospisil works in. Shot! Tipped up over the net by Zach Whitecloud. We head to the power break here. 4 minutes left to go. 4:06 left to go in the second period between Slovakia and Canada as we check back in on our game between Finland and Austria. Currently a 4-0 game for Finland. It has been a blowout game so far as the Austrians just got a shot on net. Good for them. It has not been a pretty game so far for the Austrians. After starting this tournament on a really good note, they have played some very tough hockey over the last few games. Coming into their game against Team USA, it will be a tough one for them to win, the must-win game at this point in the tournament. This is Hungary's miracle on ice. If Hungary can go out and beat either Latvia or the US, that would be something special. Damn, I'm like 2 minutes ahead, are you? Maybe this thing's behind again. Oh yeah, I'm like really far behind on this, I think. Oh no, never mind, I'm updated now. If we cope hard enough, we can reason. Austria beat Latvia, Latvia beat the USA, so Austria can also beat the US. Austria beat Latvia. Well, we'll see, right? Like, I think realistically the US probably is going to be your team who ends up sneaking into that spot. But I think in our predictions, we had that game fairly close. 4-1 US, not that close. But like the way the US has played so far hasn't exactly been inspiring. So we'll see how they can do. Hrivik lines up in the face-off draw against O'Reilly. Scramble draw, one back by the Slovaks. So Kuliar with it now. Kuliar cycles it around over to Lichka. Lichka with it. Slides it around. DeMello to O'Reilly. Puck comes out. Hrivik. Oh, and what a play by Hrivik, but can't find it through. A great chance there. The Slovaks just fire it back into the crowd. Gatos takes it, shoots through traffic. Greaves with a nice glove save there. Kind of hope the U.S. doesn't make it past the group stage. That would be I wouldn't mind that either, actually. I think that'd be a really fitting end to this tournament. Especially the way that this preliminary round has gone. Like, it's funny to me that realistically nothing has changed that much since our prediction video. Well, nothing has changed as far as the overall standings have gone, and probably won't. But I guess Norway would be that kind of exception team. They've put together a really impressive tournament so far. Zetterle against Minton. Face-off won by Team Slovakia. Sikora tries to throw forward. Chromiak rebounds loose. Kicked away, though, by the Canadian team. Dying moments there for Canada. As the puck will come all the way back up. Hlavai out to play for Slovakia. Will play it forward. Oh, nice stretch pass there. I think it's overall hope in the EU that the U.S. doesn't make it. I think it's overall hope across this tournament that the U.S. doesn't make it. Because that'd just be funny, especially after they take home the Olympics and last year's Men's World Championship. Like, it'd be fitting. Martone flips it up. Minton plays it. No hand pass there, though. It's surprising. Zetterle. As the Canadians will pick it back up. Bouchard, stretch pass up to Connor Brown. Brown with it now. Takes it. Brown. But nice play there. Pospisil. Martin Pospisil. Flip it out. And Celebrini back to take it now for Canada. As we head to the intermission between Finland and Austria. Finland now leads by 4 goals. Crosby cross crease. Trying to find his guy on the backside. Can't. And back up comes Slovakia now the other way. Crosby neutralizes any chance of evolving numbers the other way. And they'll throw it down to the corner. Weird play there by Pospisil. Martin Pospisil takes it and will fire it back into Canadian ice. Bouchard takes it behind the net for Canada. 1-1 your score. 2 minutes now left to go in this period. Bouchard with it. Passes it up. Shots on goal so far in this second period. 12-8 in favor of Team Slovakia. Lichka with it now. Looks up ice. Passes it forward. Riley. Passes it back. Coulier now. Tips it in. DeMello back to get it for Canada. Cycle it over to Riley. Riley throws it up right into another guy who's being pinched down on Cousins. We'll flip it down deep. And Lichka back to get it for Team Slovakia. Oh, and nearly passes it up. Scheifele now turns it back the other way. DeMello fires it down to Scheifele. Scheifele with it behind the net. Oh, and a big hit there. I'm sure Scheifele was expecting that one. Thomas works in with Scheifele. Scheifele behind the net now gets knocked over. Will fire it back around. Tries to feed it forward. Velarde with it back up to the point. Final minute to go now in this period. Riley walks the line, shoots. Thomas misses the net wide. Thomas on it for the Canadians. Thomas over to Scheifele. Shot. Rebounds loose. Where is it? Scramble in front, but Hlavai able to take it and cover up. One minute left to go in this period. Or under a minute now left to go in this period. Canada and Slovakia tied at a goal apiece. Nervous moments for the Canadians, nervous moments for the Slovaks. A game that means a whole lot to Slovakia, means a little bit to this Canadian team as well. We'll see whether or not they can hold on in this one. A reminder that with a win today, the Slovak team will clinch their spot in the quarterfinals. However, if they lose, they set themselves up for a must-win game against Team Sweden. Sikora now works in, flips it over and down into the ice. 30 seconds left to go in this period. Slides it around, back up to the point. Unable to keep it in there. The Slovaks, and the puck will be shot back down. Tavares stretch pass up to O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly takes it. We'll just flip it in, hold on to the puck. That'll be a penalty, though, as Koch takes down O'Reilly, and Canada will head to a late power play here. An undisciplined penalty to take with just seconds left to go on the clock, and Canada will head to the power play. Celebrini and Gados had their pleasantries exchanged. And then Koch just takes down O'Reilly. Oh, that's not a penalty. Come on. That's a terrible call. That is an absolutely terrible call. But you know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. I don't understand how that's a penalty, to be honest, but if the U.S. does make it and Canada's in first in their group, we expect you to take care of business? Absolutely. Well, I hope so. After the embarrassments we've seen so far from the U.S. at the women's under 18s, at the men's at the men's Olympics, the women's Olympics, what else has Canada lost to the U.S. at? I think that's it so far this year. Actually, they lost to the Czechs in the World Juniors. So it's kind of Adam's apple rearranged. Moves it forward. Crosby gets taken down. No call there, and they'll fire at the length of the ice. And that'll go the length of this ice. And that'll do it for the second period. Canada and Slovakia tied 1 goal each. Canada will start on the power play. As we head into the second intermission here, it has been quite the start to this one. You think back to the early games of today, we saw a bit of a dominant performance from the Latvians, taking down Great Britain by a score of 6-0. As well, we saw in the other game go to a shootout today, with Denmark taking home the win, a 3-2 final over there. As far as your shots on net go, it was an even 20-20 as we exit the second period in Canada and Slovakia. 12-9 were the shots in that second period in favor of Team Slovakia. over to Finland and Austria. Shots on goal with Finland in the lead 4-0. Your scoreline shots were 27-8 through 2 periods of play. In that last period, we really saw this Finnish team take it to that next level. They led the shot count there 19-6. Make sure to get your questions in here. For second intermission action, we will answer them here on the program. Canada's a cutie for you. As a Swiss, it would be satisfying. Whole Europe dislikes the U.S. at the moment. Fair enough. If Canada keeps up this performance, we can beat them in the finals. I think, to be honest, anyone can beat Canada in the finals at this tournament, especially if it's Switzerland or Finland. I would say that if you're looking at kind of the other teams and kind of going through the teams who are close, I mean, look at the Czechs. I'd say the Czechs can definitely beat Canada if they play well in that final, in that kind of big game to close out this tournament. If the Czechs can take that top spot, or if the Czechs can win, thank you for subscribing. If the Czechs can take that top spot, they're in a really good position to go far in this tournament. At the very least, they'll play for a medal, but you think about it as well, like there is the potential for them to avoid having to play Switzerland or Finland in that semifinal as well. If they end up as that top spot. If you don't, you'll likely have to play one of the two. So you would very much enjoy that. Do you think Klavi should be in the NHL? I think he's getting to that point. The issue right now is I'm pretty sure it's Klavi who's with the Iowa Wild. Or I have the wrong, am I thinking of the wrong guy? I'm pretty sure he's with the Iowa Wild. Yeah, he is. And so right now with the Wild, they have 2 legitimate goaltenders as well already with Gustafsson and who's the other goaltender there? They basically have two legitimate goaltenders right now that you're not going to start over him. And so because of that fact, I don't see that being much of an issue. Or I don't see him being kind of an NHL goaltender right now. But when they do eventually trade one of those goaltenders with Wallstedt as the other one, that's what I would say. Wallstedt and Gustafsson, the 2 Swedish goaltenders there. I would expect one of them. I expect Klavi to be that next goalie up for this Wild team. Canada's notorious for fumbling in the group stage but locking in for the playoffs. Not lately. Lately, they've been kind of the other side of that, where they've done really well in that preliminary round, and then come playoff time, everything goes downhill for this team. If you are new here, please do smash the like button, hit subscribe. We're on the road here to 3,000 subscribers here on YouTube. We are just 19 subscribers away from 2,200. So if you have not subscribed, please do help us in retaining the goal. We are, once again, just 19 away from 2,200 here on YouTube. So I'll hit the like button and fill out our poll. Who you think is going to end up taking home this game? Let's actually check in on that poll now. We haven't checked that one in a while, as we will see as we open the chat. 201 votes registered as of this current moment. 58% of people think Canada will pull through with the victory. 42% for Team Slovakia. I'm excited to see how that poll switches as we continue through this third period. This is probably going to be one of the better games we've seen so far at this tournament. We were live yesterday for all 6 games. So we got really 3 excellent games. Actually, kind of all of them are pretty excellent games, but the outside of maybe Switzerland and Hungary, Germany and Austria got bad pretty late. And then the Denmark game against Slovenia as well got a little bit out of hand. But the other 3 games were tremendous, right? Where you had the upset in the morning with the USA losing to Latvia. You had in that middle game, you had the Czechs and the Slovaks go toe-to-toe in what was a tremendous battle there. And then you had the last game between Norway and Sweden, which was another really excellent game. And so that was, for me, that was actually a pretty good set of games yesterday. Coming into today, a blowout game to start with Latvia taking down Great Britain as well. The Italy-Denmark game was actually a really good one as well. And then these games here, Finland, blowout games so far. Although the score doesn't really reflect the blowout side, I think the shots do a much better job of that. 27-8, 19-6 in that last period, an ugly one for sure. And then Canada-Slovakia, probably one of the better games we've seen so far today as well. So we'll see kind of how this one ends up closing out. For Canada, you're definitely looking for some key goals. For the Slovaks, once again, they're looking to try and eliminate Sweden from this tournament. With the win, they put themselves in a much better situation. They guarantee themselves to make the playoff rounds. And then all it comes down to is Norway, who would need a win against either Czechia or Denmark. Their more likely win comes against the Danes. And with the Danes having nothing to play for with their win today, they've already protected themselves from the relegation spot. We will see what ends up happening for them today. Prime opportunity. What else do we have here? At least we Swiss have a good track record against Canada in the past few years against Canada. Very true. And I would expect that to continue at this tournament. And in our predictions, we actually had Canada and Switzerland going for the gold because of the way that the group situated themselves. And so we had in that final game 4-3 Switzerland in overtime. But it was definitely interesting, kind of how that whole thing played itself out. In our bracket challenge or our prediction challenge or whatever we'd like to call it here. It started off extremely well for us at this tournament, then quickly fell down by the wayside. We had a really good start though. Predicted a lot of the games right. It was actually one of our intros for this channel. And then from there was that weird upset day where just about every game ended in the complete opposite way. That was the day where the Czechs ended up beating Sweden. A crazy day there. Kind of went pretty downhill from that point onward. God, please not another quarterfinal loss. Yep. They've been so close to their first gold medal forever, for sure. And it's been great to see just how well that the Swiss team has played over the last few years. This feels like the right moment for them to take that gold. They're on home ice, the third time. Good things happen in threes. There's a lot that's going for them in this tournament. And so we'll eventually see whether or not they can kind of pull through there with the victory. What else do we have here? Another quarterfinal loss. They've been so close. No, we'll likely make it to the finals. I would say for Switzerland and Finland, two teams likely to end up making it onto the finals. It'll depend on what happens in their group. You'd much rather not having to play Canada in the semifinals. However, that might be inevitable at this point. We'll see. Let's see here. To be honest, if anything, losing the semifinals, we can't take another quarterfinal. Can't take another quarterfinal or final loss. Very fair. And for our Swiss fans, I know we have a few of them in this chat here as well. It is going to be interesting to see kind of how well they can play when those moments get big. We'll be live once again. This will be our last live stream of this weekend. We'll be live starting for semifinal action next weekend, where we'll have both the semifinals and the finals, both bronze and gold, as well as both semifinal matchups next weekend. So stay tuned for that. Quite a bit of content coming well on its way here, but we will see what ends up happening. What else do we see? Let's see here. Latvians had the same conversation about Gudlevskis and why he didn't stay in the NHL, but for his own reasons. And part of it too is some guys just don't want to come over, right? And for whether it's Giannoni is a big example of that kind of player, where just a guy who didn't really want to play in the NHL. And that's okay, right? Like, you don't need to go and play in the NHL. The Swiss League is a very good one as well. And so it's just a different style. And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, to be honest. I think European leagues in particular have their own appeal in their own way. And I mean, we'll see kind of as time does continue onward, whether or not there will be any kind of something to keep an eye on there. I'm really curious how the eventual Russian return to IIHF will go, as in, are they still the top level? I don't think the IIHF knows how they're going to reintroduce that when Russia eventually does come back, if they eventually come back, because that's part of it, is they don't really have a re-entry plan. So we'll see. I think Belarus just got accepted back, so I think they'll try and figure out what the pathway is for them at some point. I would assume that they would start division. It's actually a good question where they'd start, but it will be interesting for sure. As long as it's not a quarterfinal loss against Germany, Celebrini trips and then he cries like a baby when he gets put into his place. I didn't see that part, but I would assume that is probably what ended up happening. I'm not surprised by that. Probably their talents are still around for a big part. Yeah, I hate Canada even more. Canada refs. Well, I hope not that bad. Although I do appreciate why, especially for Canadians, how cocky we all are around this sport after not being able to win anything this year. It's been definitely a humbling experience. What else do we have? LOL, it's possible this year. As Latvians, we know that Canada always finds a way to win. Canada can easily win gold. They absolutely can. And we talked about it. There's the big three at this tournament where realistically you could see any one of three teams pulling through with the victory, whether it be Finland, Switzerland, or Canada. Then you have your other teams who are kind of around that range, but not exactly those favorites. But we'll see kind of how it ends up going. Not true Latvian fan then. This game has to be terrifying for Sweden. I would say so. And you don't want to see Norway go into that must-win game against Denmark. Because if Norway plays against Denmark, Norway's going to enter as a favorite in that game. And so if Austria can somehow find if the Slovaks rather can somehow find their way in this one, all of a sudden the Swedes are out of this tournament and it's out of their control. And so I'm excited to see what ends up happening here as we head in to the last couple days of this tournament, especially with so many question marks at stake. We'll see. Part of the beauty of it is you don't really know until the end of it, but it's going to be entertaining. We're just about back. Finland and Austria starting back up here. Reminder that it's a 4-0 game for Finland. They have been dominant so far in this one. Score should be a lot more as of this point, but still remains close. And then we'll finish off with our comments here. I think we're just about through them. When Gudlevskis was playing in the NHL, he was second to Vasilevsky, which you most times look bad, replacing one of your best modern goaltenders for sure. And as much as, like, you think about Gudlevskis, how well he's played for Latvia over the years, a big part to a lot of these World Championship campaigns. And we'll see kind of as it continues on, whether he gets any more looks. Obviously, the Olympic Games have come and gone. Didn't get a whole lot of time there, but definitely a guy who you look to in those big moments to try and kind of find your groove. Latvia, big win today. Speaking of that team, a big 6-0 win over Team Great Britain. They are now looking for that playoff spot. With a win against Hungary, they will lock that up. Potentially more, depending on what happens between the USA and Austria. If Austria ends up beating Team USA in regulation, Austria will take that second spot, which would be a huge deal for them. Or the third spot rather in the group. However, if the US ends up winning, then and Latvia also wins, Latvia will be in that third spot, which would be a big deal for them as they're trying to avoid having to play one of the better teams, likely in Canada, to take the top spot in the group. But at this point, we don't really know that for sure. They probably will be a top team when they return someday, maybe take a year or two. Yeah, and that's the other things. It's kind of out of IIHF's control at this point. Hope the Czech trainee watched the game, Czechoslovakia. I know we do have a lot of Czech viewers on watching right now, so a big thank you to everyone for tuning in for this game. This game's a huge game as well for the Czechs. As for Czechia, you're looking to try and take this top spot. We'll see whether or not that ends up happening. Belarus going back was only a recommendation made from the IOC, nothing from the IIHF. It hasn't been announced yet, but I would expect it over the next few days as they are in their semi-annual Congress to end up being announced. Luke Tardif as well is stepping down as president of the IIHF, so they'll be voting on that new president coming up. So move it forward shot, turned away. I do hope Norway can make it. I hope so as well. I think realistically they're in probably the better spot than the Slovaks right now. Going into a game against Denmark, the Danes, yes, they've played okay hockey over the last little while, but I wouldn't say that they've been necessarily great. A tough game for them today again. And you put them up against the Norwegians, who have looked better and better as this tournament has gone along. I would expect Norway to be making their quarterfinal appearance this year. We'll see whether or not it ends up happening, of course, but they have looked good so far. A reminder that Canada will start on the power play, and we do eventually resume here for third period action. Just a few minutes away from that is Finland and Austria. 17:35 left to go in this third period. Giannoni is a world-class goaltender the last 10 years. He's been very good, especially at these World Championships. He's been definitely a mainstay on the Swiss team, and it's always fun arguing with NHL fans, especially when the Olympics were around, when Kira Schmid was there, and it was like, oh, well, he's the NHL guy. You should start. Well, no. Try again. But anyway. Do I watch the NHL? Speaking of, I do watch the NHL as a North American myself, as a Canadian myself. And my team is the Boston Bruins, which is a little less Canada of me, but that is my team. It would be so funny if Sweden didn't make the playoffs. It would be something, and I would like this game for Slovakia is a huge opportunity here for them to not have to go into a must-win game against the Swedes, which is going to be very difficult for them. And as though the Slovaks have had a pretty good start, and the puck comes way out, shot, scores Austria 4-1 in their game. Don't call it a comeback yet. Oh, really? I still don't see a way Belarus comes back, especially with Ukraine promoted to the top tier. And that's part of the issue is the IIHF, even they don't know how they're going to proceed with it. But with the recommendation from the IOC, they don't really have a scapegoat anymore. Their whole argument since the start has been we're just going to do what the IOC does. And if the IOC is recommending that Belarus comes back, then it doesn't work. So they'll need to either make a stance on it now or kind of accept that fate is coming for them. What else do we have here? So funny, that would be hurt. Sweden's IIHF ranking so bad. Same thing with the U.S. as well. Sweden and USA after groups for maximum center. That would be amazing. It'd be so funny. Isn't Sweden supposed to be better? They should be better, but we'll see whether the Slovaks can pull through with the victory. I want any team but the U.S. to win. And we are back now for third period action here between Slovakia and Canada. Wrong S's there. Should be a great period. We'll see which team can pull out on top. Canada, once again, will start on the power play here. Here in this third period. As I think there'll be a 5-on-3 power play coming up for Canada, will it? Maybe the puck will come out. El Culiar will go to the box, and Canada will go to a 5-on-3 power play with a huge opportunity here. And it's a long one as well. O'Culiar to the box for tripping. And a tough play there. Bouchard just gets taken down. Wow. Canada will go to the 5-on-3 power play here with a huge chance in this game to get a little bit of separation. We will see whether or not they can get this thing done. Crosby chance misses over the net. And a big opportunity here for this team. Canada with the 5-on-3 power play. Here we go. Celebrini walks over the line. 55 seconds left to go. Bouchard with it. Walks along the line. Bouchard for Canada. Slides it over. Celebrini back to Bouchard. Captain Canada. Celebrini with it now. Sends down to Crosby. Crosby tries to throw it across ice. Throws it forward, and that puck will be sent the length of the ice here. 35 seconds left to go on the first penalty. Stretch pass picked off there by the Slovaks. Sikora back for Slovakia. It throws on the brakes, and a nice move there. So he'll send it back to his defender and tick some more time off of this clock. And now they'll fire it down. Bouchard with the puck, sends it up ice. Crosby with it now, will drop it back for O'Reilly. O'Reilly with it, down to Crosby. Crosby back up to the point to Bouchard. Bouchard walks along the line. Bouchard with it. So Celebrini shot, tipped out front, but misses the net wide. And that'll do it for the 5-on-3. Player coming out of the box, but no one there. And Canada will stay on the power play here, but will miss their opportunity on the 5-on-3 advantage. Holloway passes it over to Thomas. Thomas slides it over. Shot. Oh, and a near weird rebound chance there. Sturback for the Slovaks nearly put it into his own net. Chance. Flurry shot. Scores! Gabriel Velarde on the power play rebound chance. Slides it home for Canada to make it a 2-1 game. Canada 2, Slovakia 1. Velarde on the power play. And the Slovaks came oh so close to killing off both, but unfortunately could not get the job done. Canada finds themselves now up a goal. Wow. And that makes it a little bit less nerve-wracking. Velarde hits it out of the air. Oh, he actually quite literally hit that puck out of the air. Bouncing puck, and that will put the Canadian team back up. Minton lines up against Potrasil. And the face-off draw won by Team Slovakia. 17:44 left to go in this period. Over in Finland and Austria now, there's 13:30 left to go. As Team Canada now will move it back up ice. Riley, stretch pass up there, over to Martone. Lavai out to play it, passes it back. And now the Slovaks will work back up ice. Potrasil throws on the brakes, fires it over. Minton with it. Minton fires it down ice. 17:15 left to go now. Clock starting to become the enemy of this Slovak team. Riley with it. Passes it on down. Slovakia with the puck once again. Will collect it and start to try and move it back up ice, but picked off by the Canadians, and they'll start to shift back up now. Velarde, the go-ahead goal scorer for Canada, will work on in. Throws it out front. Shot, Scheifele. Oh, and what a save by Lavai. A great stop there. So Slovaks work back in. Chance in front of the net, but will not take it. Throws it back out. Rebounds loose. Can't find it through, and Velarde now for Canada will skate it back up ice. And Finland has scored over in their game. Nurse now. Chance, shot. A lot of traffic in front. Nurse again with the rebound. Velarde tries to throw it over to Thomas. Can't put it in. White Cloud shot from long distance. Misses wide. High quality action here between Slovakia and Canada. And this game remains a 2-1 game. Chromiak now works behind the Canadian net. Shot from the point. Saved there by Greaves. Taken. Fires it down deep. Wotherspoon with it. Passes it over. And stretch pass there, but it will not hit Crosby. And that'll go the length of the ice for icing here. As Halavai's... Oh, looks like his pad was loose. It scared me there for a second. Thought he might have been hurt. But end-to-end action we go. Lavai with probably one of the best saves so far at this tournament comes flying across to take that one in the chest protector. Love to see the Mexico-Russia upset. That would be something. Who knows? Maybe in a few years we'll see Mexico up at the top division. Never know. So they're re-showing that goal there between Canada and Slovakia. The go-ahead goal for Gabriel Velarde. A bouncing puck he deposits into the back of the net. We check in on our poll. 56% of people say Canada will pull through with the win. 230 votes in. Slovakia with the other 44%. We'll see if that changes at all as this game continues. Celebrini walks in. Shots! Oh, I thought that went in. Lavai able to make the kick save there. Crosby. Center ice. Celebrini there almost threw it off the Slovak defender and in, but Lavai able to make the stop. (5-1) your score between Finland and Austria. Finland scored a goal very recently as well. During that absurd sequence we saw with Canada and Slovakia going end to end. If you are new here, please do smash the like button, hit subscribe. We are on the road here to 3,000 subscribers. We are just a few subscribers now away. We are just 19 away from 2,200 here on YouTube. So if you have not already, please do smash that subscribe button. Tavares works in shot, scores! John Tavares scores for Canada to make it 3-1. Oh, that makes me feel a lot better now. There we go. That's more like it. In Canada now with a 2-goal lead. Uh-oh, they're reviewing something. They're thinking about challenging it. John Tavares makes it 3-1 for Canada. Ryan O'Reilly with a beautiful pass. Tavares goes forehand, backhand, and slides it just over the pad of Lavi. And Johnny T makes it a 3-1 hockey game. 15:06 left to go in this third period. Canada in the lead now by 2 goals. We'll see if that's the dagger. Slovaks back in their own end now. Hrivik slides it over to Lichka, who move it up ice now. Here comes Slovakia back in with it now. Puck is in the skates. Okuliar and Lichka down low for the Slovak team. Unable to be able to generate much off of it, though. Spin chance up to the blue line. Lichka now enters for Slovakia. Okuliar with it. Okuliar moves it down to Lichka. Lichka with the puck throws on the brakes. Passes it up to the point. Sturback shot from long distance. Gloved down by Greaves. Nice stop there. As Ratu there has his number torn off his helmet. That was an interesting one. I don't think I've seen that very often. As penalties are upcoming for both teams. As the Swiss fans are, I guess the Canadian and Slovak fans are jumping up for joy. O'Reilly wins the face-off draw back. Nurse. Five-on-four power play for, not too sure which team it'll be for, but over in Finland and Austria, they will go to the power play. So Ratu gets the extra one by the looks of things. And Austria will go to the power play down 4. Will look to try and bring themselves back within 3. See if they can do that here. Rebound chance. Chromiak in proximity. Chromiak passes it down low. Tries to find Sikora. O'Reilly now dumps it back. Tries it Tavares with a step. Gatos passes it over to Koch. Koch will line it up. Sikora up ice now. Here comes Sederle. Gets thrown into the boards. You know what? A big hit there by Darnell Nurse. Back in comes Slovakia. Radovojevic's shot turned away there by Greaves, and a penalty upcoming to Canada. It will be a slashing call as Macklin Celebrini will go to the box for Canada, and Slovakia will head to the power play, looking to bring themselves back within a goal. We'll see whether or not they can do it. 9:35 left to go now in Austria as they send it a cross shot. Oh, nice power play chance there for this Austrian team. Unterweger slides it forward for Austria. So Austrian team has generated some good looks so far on this power play. Sverger slides it along. Oh, nice play there. Throws on the brakes. Passes it over. Throws it back. Chance out front. Shot. Looking for the rebound. Can't quite put it through. And that'll do it for the Austrian power play. some real good looks for them as Finns move back in and covered up there by Austria's Bjornanen goes and visits the Austrian goalkeeper there. Sikora is the recipient of that slash. Celebrini will head to the box for Team Canada. Slovakia to the power play, where they will see whether or not they will be able to hold on or be able to bring themselves back within a goal here. Chromiak works down low, throws the cross crease pass, but unable to find Pospisil. A nice save there by Greaves. Tries to throw it over. And Canada will pry it out back into neutral ice. Radivojevic slides it over. Chromiak will fire it around. Pospisil leaves it for his defender. Radivojevic throws it over. Nice pass there. Chromiak's shot blocked up top there by Whitecloud. And that puck will be sent the length of the ice down. A tough start to this power play so far for Team Slovakia. Radivojevic drops it back. Pospisil works in. Over is Christian Pospisil. Pospisil with it for Christian Pospisil with it. Holds. Passes it down to Martin Pospisil. Martin over to Christian. Christian back with it. Christian tries to slide it across, but picked up there. And the Canadians will work back in. Evan Bouchard. Bouchard with the step all of a sudden. Bouchard works in. O'Reilly shot. Scores! Ryan O'Reilly shorthanded. Makes it 4-1 for Canada. And a chance arriving out of nothing puts Canada up 4-1. Christian Pospisil unable to tie down Evan Bouchard, leading to a 2-on-1 opportunity. And a play arriving looked like Bouchard was just going to dump it in, and Pospisil didn't back check enough. Ends up pulling Radivojevic out of position, and O'Reilly, unmarked, slides it into the back of the net. Canada leads 4-1 in this game. A 1-1 game entering this period has quickly turned ugly. Canada leads 4-1. Wow, what a turn of events there. Passes it forward. Now the second unit comes out for Team Slovakia. Vasko Rudash slides it on over. Pass over there. Rivik shot. Greaves a nice turnaway save there. Passes it again. Rivik again. Looks for the backdoor jam now. Where's the puck? Rebounds loose. Puck comes out. Rasko. Rivik shot. Oh, and what a save by Greaves coming across. A huge glove save. That one had net written all over it. And a huge save by Jet Greaves to deny Rivik. What a save. Oh, and a great stop there. Wow. Comes all the way across. What a save by Greaves. Puck comes up. Here comes the Slovaks. Again, 5 seconds left to go on this power play. They'll move it up. That'll do it for the power play. Puck is flipped up. Fraser Minton now back. Minton. Celebrini slides it down. Sikora back for the Slovak team, and they'll start to look up ice. Nice move there. Puck moved along. Thomas moves it back down to Wotherspoon. Passes it over. Slides it over. Oh, and looking for Mejar on the backside. Unable to get it to him. Puck bounces over his stick. Slovakia losing precision now. You can definitely tell that they are struggling a little bit to get going. Velarde now works in. Slides it over to Celebrini. Shot. Scores! Macklin Celebrini makes it 5-1. This game is ugly. All of a sudden, the floodgates have opened here. Canada now leads 5-1. Wow. How quickly this tide has turned. Insane. The future is teal, but tonight it is red. That's a tremendous sign. Wow. And the Slovaks will start to prepare for their must-win game coming up against Team Sweden. A loss, and they are likely eliminated from this tournament, depending on what happens with Norway and Denmark. Why are we so weak? The Slovak team has kind of fallen apart in this one at the end, near the end of this game now. It has turned ugly. Canada 5, Slovakia 1. A crazy end to this one. Celebrini now works in. But the puck picked off from there. Lichka stretch pass. Celebrini rides off his guy into the boards. Riley moves it up to Crosby. Crosby with it now. We'll look up ice. Crosby tries to saucer it up to Riley, but puck gets broken up. Cousins. Hrivik takes it back. Lichka moves over the line for the Slovaks. Shot. Rebound. Greaves, it kind of snuck under his glove there. Ten minutes left to go in this game between Canada and Slovakia. Finland leading Austria by a score of 5-1. Why are we cursed at the IHF? Oh. Just want to make sure something before we have our comments again. Were the refs bad in this game? Because I know yesterday we didn't think the refs were that bad, and then that was just about every comment in our recap video. So I want to make sure that the refs weren't too bad in today's game. I didn't think that they have been all that bad, but maybe they have been. I don't know. Well, if Slovakia doesn't win tomorrow, I'm betting for Canada to win. Is that game tomorrow? I guess there's only two. I keep forgetting there's only 2 days left in this in the preliminary round at this tournament. The schedule is going by so quickly. No, Slovakia plays on the 26th. They play on Tuesday against Sweden, which will be a must-win game. Let's not get hasty now. Oh. Well, the one interesting thing, and one of the things we always like to talk about, is that although the general rule is you don't want to run up scores at these tournaments, sometimes you kind of have to. Penalty upcoming here and over in Finland and Austria. Finland will head to the power play by the looks of things for tripping the call. O'Reilly throws it down to Tavares. Tavares with the puck. This game has gotten ugly as of late. Puck moved around. Over to Darnell Nurse. Nurse moves up to Holloway. Holloway with the puck. Holloway tries to fire it around. Puck gets broken up. Fasko Rudash now works up for Team Slovakia. Shot broken up. Holloway. Over to O'Reilly. Kolarek, the penalty for tripping over in Finland and Austria. The Finns trying to break this one open a little bit more. Shot from long distance. Turned away. Lundell. Heinola. Moves it over. 9 minutes now to go in this one. Matejchuk slides it up and will flip it back out. Radovojevic for Slovakia will throw on the brakes and turn it back. Pushes it forward. Tries to drop it off. Scheifele and Velarde work along the boards in the neutral zone. Scheifele with a nice move there will drop it off to Thomas. Thomas will dump it down deep. Gives it over to Velarde. Over to Scheifele. Scheifele with the puck. Scheifele wheels with it now. To Velarde's shot. Blocked up top. Thomas to Scheifele. Scheifele's stick breaks into a million pieces and the puck gets played out of play. So we are under 3 minutes now to go left in this third period between Finland and Austria. Hellenius shot from distance, turned away. And that puck will be played all the way down the ice. That should do it for this Finnish power play. Heiskanen sends it over to Puljujärvi. Puljujärvi drops it off. Manninen over to Heiskanen. Lettinen. We were saying earlier in this turn about how when we have a bunch of players from, for example, the Olympics, which was one of the big tournaments where all of a sudden all the names start to get a little jumbled because you're used to seeing them in their old jerseys. That's Lettinen there with the shot on net. Lichka moves over to Okuliar. Passes it around. Moves it over. Shot from long distance. Turned away. Back in comes the Canadians. Emmett Finney now. Player of the game in one of Canada's most recent games. Back up come Team Slovakia. 2 minutes now left to go between Finland and Austria. The power play has been done. Five on three really screwed it. It did. Austria scores 5-2 now. Don't call it a comeback quite yet. Leon Wallner with the goal for the Austrians. Could potentially be a big goal come goal differential time for both of these sides. We'll see whether or not that will end up ever being the case at this tournament, but you never know, especially with how spread out the point totals are. Celebrini now works over. Crosby tries to get it to Cousins, broken up. Greaves plays it. Majar. White Cloud passes it over to Cousins. Cousins with the puck will chip it over to Sidney Crosby. Crosby throws on the brakes, passes it back. Works it up now. Matejchuk will fire it down deep. 6 minutes now to go. Radovojevich. I bet Canada will pull their goalie. That would be something. Works on in. 5:45 left to go in Canada and Slovakia. The time slowly but surely ticking down on this one. Works in. Velarde tries to throw it forward, but broken up. Granlund over to Matenpalo. Matenpalo with it. Here comes Thomas now. Thomas tries to get over to Scheifele, but can't. Lichka will work back in for Slovakia. Rivik slides it on over. Passes Lichka slot area, but blocked up top. Scheifele now for Canada. We'll break it back into open ice. 1 minute now to go left in Finland and Austria. Finland leading 5-2 here. Canada and Slovakia 5-1 as well. 5 minutes now to play. As up come the Slovaks. Rivik fires it around. Down to Sikora. White Cloud back to get it for Canada. Chromiak ties up along the wall. O'Reilly works in. O'Reilly tries to find Nurse chance. Turned away there by Hlavai. Good opportunity there. And that'll do it. Finland will take down Austria by a score of 5-2 in what has been a pretty dominant game today from the Finnish squad. 4:10 left to go in Canada and Slovakia as we head into the power break here. Should be the last one of those of this game. But for Finland and Austria today, a game that I think in many ways the Finns came to play early, often and always, and end up taking this one 5-2 over the fellow Austrians. For our predictions for this game, I think it was actually pretty close. It was pretty close because it was right. Go team. It was a 5-2 score we had in our predictions for Finland over Austria today. So at least that one was right. We had 4-2 Canada over Slovakia. Wasn't really anticipating a 5-on-3, which would have been pretty close. Forget the gold Canuckers. Switzerland, Finland will be 1-0 in overtime. It wouldn't surprise me to see that game go to overtime. And if it goes to overtime, then all of a sudden it creates a new kind of tiebreaker with goal differential between Canada if they end up taking this group, which appears that they will, assuming they can beat Czechia in regulation on their final game. We'll see whether that ends up being the case. But without those penalties in short succession, it would have been way more competitive. I do agree. And this game has been ridiculously competitive. Unfortunately, just Canada, when they've gotten their chances, have, buried them, right? And it can be a big difference in a game whether you bury your chances or you don't. And the Canadians today have done a very good job of that. Minton lines up in the face-off dot against Pospisil. Matejchuk, slide it over. Flip it up ice. That puck will stay in play, fortunately for them. All right, I predict Canada will score 2 more. That's a bold take. Puck will be played down. Pospisil works over, shot, and a penalty upcoming to Canada. And they'll touch up. Slovakia will go to the power play here, down 4 goals. We'll see whether or not they can get a quick one here and potentially try and bring themselves back into this game. As Denton Matejchuk will go to the box for tripping. Your players of the game over in Finland and Austria. Vili Sarjärvi for the Finns. Not sure I caught who the Austrian one was. Benjamin Nisner for the Austrians today. Czechia, Canada's worst nightmare. No, not again, please. World Junior guys could tell stories. 100% they could. 100%. However, at this point with the win today, Canada doesn't really matter what they do at this point because they'll end up, at least they should end up, even with a loss, having to go through either Switzerland or Finland in their semifinal, and they'll get to avoid either Switzerland or Finland in their quarterfinal matchup. And so although you obviously do always want to win as many games as you can, not too much of an issue there for them that they ended up losing today, or that if they lose tomorrow or whenever day it is against Team Czechia. In my opinion, NHL players ruin the game. Yes, they're fast, competitive, but they act their way into penalties or power plays for sure. It's also kind of that they know how to get people going, and that's why they are in the NHL for most of them, because you're either a very skilled player or you're a guy who needs to help contribute in a different way. Thomas lines up in the face-off dot against Pospisil. Slovaks win the face-off draw, but drop prematurely. And Pospisil will be kicked out of the face-off dot. Or he'll get the warning, I guess. Is probably the better way of saying that. Pospisil lining up against Thomas again. 1:46 left to go on the Slovak power play. 3:32 left in the period. Radovojevic slides it down. Passes it back. Sederle over to Radovojevic, who will shift it down deep to Okuliar. Pospisil out to the front. Pospisil tries to feed it across to Okuliar, but the puck will be kicked out of play. Or not out of play, but down the ice of play. 3 minutes left to go now. Slovakia, Canada, 1:15 left to go on the Slovak power plays. They work in. Radovojevic shot on the backhand. Shouldered away by Greaves. Sederle works in. Pass it back over to Radovojevic. Radovojevic passes it over to Chromiak. Chromiak fires it around the boards. Slides it back to over the line, back to Sederle. I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to play, but the ref should see through their act. Like, dude, how the heck aren't you seeing that he's acting? Yeah, that's fair. Radovojevic over to Mejar. Mejar passes it around. Keeps captain at the line. Rivik. Vasco Rudash. Over to Rivik. Passes it across. Shot. Blockered away. Rivik unable to keep it in there at the line. 2 minutes now left to go. Slovakia and Canada. Shot. Rebound. Rivik misses on it. Just completely whiffs on that attempt. And that'll do it for the power play and likely the rest of this game. Canada still in the lead by a score of 5-1. 1:35 left to go in this third period. Works on in. Tries to chip it forward. Broken up. Moves up. 1:20 left to go in this third period. The puck will be sent down the length of the ice. Sturback back for Team Slovakia. Sikora throws on the brakes. Passes back up to the point. Sturback walks in, shoots. And a good glove save there by Greaves to hold on to it. So we check in on the standings post this game. 17 points. Canada will be in the top part with 17 points. Czechia will be in second with 5 games played, so a game less than Canada with 13. Slovakia with 6 games with 11 points. Norway with 5 games and 10. Sweden in that 5th spot with 9 points, having played 6 games as well. It'll ultimately come down to the Slovaks, their game against Team Sweden. If they can win that game, they will be into the next round. They'll also await what happens in Norway and Denmark, as well as Norway and Czechia. If Norway loses both of their games, then the Slovaks will be into the playoff rounds as well. Final minute of action here in this game between Canada and Slovakia. Clock ticking down on what has been a pretty competitive game that unfortunately for the Slovak team just kind of escaped them for a few minutes, and Canada ran up the score in those minutes, and now we see where we are right now. Definitely a tough end to this one for the Slovaks. Crosby will play till 50. I think he's just about done. He might be in for the last Olympic Games, and then I think he'll be done. Vasco Rudash now works in, shot over the net. And that puck will come out of play with 2 seconds remaining on the clock. If World Championship of Hockey was not about acting, but about actual hockey, Sweden, Finland, Czechia, Slovakia, and Russia would be the top. I'm not sure I'd say that, but okay. I still do think that, I mean, if the best players in the world were all playing at the same time, I still think Canada and the U.S. would be 1 and 2, at least for right now. I think later on we'd see kind of teams like the Finns, the Swedes, the Czechs. They'll always be competitive and they'll always be able to pull off upsets against those teams, but Canada and the U.S. are usually favorites and for good reason. But that'll do it today. Canada does take home the 5-1 win over Team Slovakia in this one. A competitive game throughout that, unfortunately for the Slovaks, a few lapses in minutes there, and the Canadians pounced all over it. They take this one for a final score of 5-1. A great day of action here. We saw earlier today a blowout game between Latvia and Great Britain. Latvia took home a big 6-0 win there, as well as a 3-2 win for Denmark over Italy. The Danes went up early 2-0 in that game. The Italians battled their way back, forcing overtime. Nothing happened in overtime, and now we went to the shootout. And in the shootout, the Danes ended up taking it. Then on to the second set of games, we saw the Finns completely dominate Austria en route to a 5-2 win for that. And then a 5-1 win for Canada today over Team Slovakia in what was an extremely competitive game. Right to the very end, we will see for the Slovaks as they look ahead to a huge game coming up against, are those shots right? Does that say 32-20? That can't be right. Is that right? No, 32-29. I was about to say there's absolutely no way that that's right. 32-29 were your final shots on goal in favor of Team Slovakia. That part doesn't surprise me at all. I didn't think that there was a 12-shot difference between the two. But for Slovakia, setting themselves up for a big game coming up against Sweden, a win and they're in. However, if they lose, there is still a little bit of hope as they will await on the final scores for Norway, who will play Czechia tomorrow, and then their big one against Denmark on the 26th. If Norway wins, the Slovaks beat Sweden, or if the Slovaks beat Sweden in any capacity, Sweden will be eliminated from this tournament. However, if Norway pulls off a win and Sweden does end up beating Team Slovakia in regulation time, Sweden will be your team moving on, and the Slovaks will be eliminated from this tournament. Should be a great couple days as we look ahead. Be sure to stay tuned for our recap video coming out a little bit later on tonight. And then as well over on the Group B side, Austria will look ahead to their big game coming up against Team USA. The US will play against Hungary tomorrow, where we'll see whether they can eliminate themselves before they even get to that point. But as of right now, for the Austrians, a tough game today. They will look to try and bounce back after what has been a tough couple games now against the U.S. team on the 26th. A win, and they will stay in this tournament. A loss, and they will be eliminated. A big thank you to everyone for tuning in today. That's going to wrap it up here. If you made it this far in the live stream, thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, do drop a like. If you really like to, consider subscribing and tell all your friends that we are in for a chaotic end to this Men's World Championship preliminary round tournament. Until next time, see you.